So just like Tom and I were talking last night, I don't give a rip if we're taking out Iran's leadership and their, and their military. I'm sorry. These people chose evil, and they've also, since 1979, killed nearly 1,000 Americans. As far as I'm concerned, they've been at war with us for a long time. All right, but here's Victor Davis Hanson, who does a wonderful job explaining this.
There's enough
explaining where we're at.
Evidence to see how things are really going. Europeans would never agree to go anywhere near Iran unless they thought the tide was turning and they think that we're going to win. Otherwise, they would keep still. And the reason that the petro nations of the Gulf survive is they have their finger in the wind and they're very attuned to the climate. And when you have Al Jazeera praising the United States bombing campaign and saying that it's been underestimated and it's brilliant and effective, you get the feeling that they think not only should the United States finish the job, but it can and will finish the job. And then when you start to see tactical aircraft like Warthogs and Apaches, that means that they're offering almost ground and sea support to hit targets. There's nothing, there's no defense at all when you have that type of aircraft flying at will in Iranian airspace.
First of all, Victor Davis Hanson's absolutely right. Guy's a genius. I love his stuff. Secondly, how freaking funny is it that on Hannity's show it still says set your DVR? Does that tell you who their audience is or what? I'm sorry. I was trying to pay attention. I saw that. I'm just like, oh my God. Okay, boomer. That's just funny. In the era of cord cutting, that's hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't help myself. All right, let's keep going. Trump today said this, and I know this man is holding on to something, and let me put it this way. I have a feeling Trump's much more in control of the situation. And one of the great narratives being painted right now, which is, again, just another psyop in my opinion, is that the Trump administration didn't prepare for this. Okay. That they went in not knowing what was going to happen with Strait of Hormuz and all this. And they just basically went in because Trump felt it in his gut one day, which is so dumb. But this is actually going around. Okay, so you have the Israel tards on one side who say we're just over there for Israel because Bibi controls Trump. That's the Israel tards. And then you have the other people who are saying this nonsense that Trump is just, reckless and just jumped in there. But Trump has acted in control this entire time. And he says, again, something right now that I found very interesting.
Volatile world, and the military equipment, the power of some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious. But we want to do. Don't forget, Biden gave away. I rebuilt.
Do you hear what he said? We have stuff so crazy, and he's talked about this for ages. Okay, ages, and he said this the other day about how I could send them back 25 years in an hour. And he's not talking about nukes. He's not. Trump would never nuke another country. He actually cares about civilians too much. But he just said it. They're being judicious. And so whatever technology we have, Venezuela was a glimpse of it, where the guy said everything went dark and we couldn't even shoot our guns. That is insane. We're finding out, as I've said the last few weeks, is that these big bads, China, Russia, Iran, they're nowhere close to us. And one of the great lies was being told they were. And Trump, again, is just alluding to the fact, guys, we've shown you some stuff, and we have more. We don't want to use it. We want you guys to rise up, take back your country, and we don't want to set you back even more. But if the Iranian people don't step up, we might at some point do that. And Trump doesn't want to take out he doesn't want to take out their lives, but he might have to take out more infrastructure, and because this is what I ultimately believe is happening with Iran is that Trump he's going to make sure they can never militarily be a threat again in the region or to us. And in the region, which means he disrupts them so much they can no longer fund the terrorists and they have nothing left there for Hamas, Hezbollah, whatever they're doing. The nuke stuff is just completely gone. They don't have uranium. They don't have that's all part of it. And then obviously the other part is making sure that all ties and control of City of London are gone, which is why he took over the insurance for the Strait of Hormuz for the tankers, which is why we're moving into that area more. And Trump's just flexing left and right on this. I mean, watch. Here's Besant talking about Karg.
And to be clear, he has focused on Karg Island since 1988, before the Shah fell, that the U.S. Should be focused on that. He is laser focused on it. As I said, there was a bombing campaign last week. The military assets on Karg Island were destroyed. And the other thing I can tell you, if you're an oil worker, you don't want to work there. So all the oil workers there are being coerced to stay there. And, we will see what happens with whether that eventually becomes a U.S. asset.
You hear that? Whether Karg ultimately becomes a U.S. asset? That's wild. That's the heart of their oil industry. This is a great post today. War with Iran was near universally predicted to usher in World War III. 10,000 U.S. casualties in first months, Houthis blocking Suez, Iran blocking Straits, Hezbollah and Hamas tying down Israel on two fronts, China and Russia gobbling territories. None of that has happened. Again, how much have we been lied to, guys? How much of our narratives we've been fed our whole life are just absolute nonsense? And where did we hear those narratives? Well, we heard it in school. We heard it from the newscasters. We heard it from the podcasters. We've heard from whoever was famous politically, except for somebody like Rush. Rush was one of the only ones who told the truth, which is why he always had to stay completely independent. You ever notice that about Rush? Not only was he the most popular and the biggest show, but he was also fully independent. EIB network, all his. There's a reason for that. Rush couldn't be bought. All these other guys propped up by networks. Hannity, Fox News. You mean go down the list. Not Rush. That's why he could speak the truth. And we never had to worry about him. But look at all these other people now. They're all, they all started in mainstream media. This is why some of the people, I've noticed that haven't turned on Trump, like Steven Crowder. That guy is fully independent. Started and I'm at the point where I'm kind of waiting to see if he'll turn too, just like so many others have. But Crowder's calling this crap out. So I'm like, okay, Crowder might be one of the good ones. We have somebody like Glenn Beck, who I don't agree with Glenn Beck on everything. He is a Zionist. I'm not. But Beck was an independent guy, got fired from Fox News for being too independent, started his own thing immediately. And Beck seems to understand what's going on better than all the other people out there. It's very interesting. But these people, all they ever tell us is lies. All these people who were institutionalized, who were raised up by others, all lies. It's just like everything they tell us, all their warnings, all their fear mongering, always lies, which is, again, I go back to what's the number one rule? The number one rule of how you notice a grifter, a con man, somebody in the political sphere. It's that they're sowing hopelessness. They're sowing discouragement. They're blackpilling. Because there's no reason to blackpill when you actually understand how all this works. You always have hope. You cannot, real influence doesn't exist without hope. And they're trying to win us over with fear. Well, fear can have temporary influence, but it doesn't last because nobody's inspired. Inspiration always lasts more than fear. Inspiration can only come through hope. And that's why Trump is such a good leader. The man's always being hopeful, always talking about vision, always casting vision. And these guys just don't have that. Oh, Alex Jones is big bad. he's gone off the deep end. And Alex Jones is independent. But here's the thing with Alex. I think, I don't know exactly with Alex. He's either been a double agent for a long time, or Alex has gotten to the point where he was scared of losing his empire. And so he's playing to the crowd, thinking he's riding the waves, keeping that fear mongering going so he can keep getting his checks. Because he almost lost InfoWars, and he almost lost being rich and famous. And so I think Alex might be grifting in a different way. But so I could see Alex not being controlled, but he also might just be selfish. I don't know. But he's completely lost his mind. I will say that. He's completely lost his mind. Trump just seems to know how to make this stuff work, guys. Last night we were talking about how all these countries were refusing to come along. Well, then Trump basically stepped on their throats. And I was like, fine, we don't need the Strait of Hormuz. We're good. We can just be fully independent. We have the oil. You guys don't. You guys take care of it. What happened? They all jumped in the next day. Germany, UK, France, Italy, Netherlands, and Japan. Guys, this tells me that Trump is winning behind the scenes too. He's getting capitulation because they know they'll completely fall apart. So he's making, especially in the case of Germany and UK, which both those are completely, and France, those countries are completely gone. Italy is in its own MAGA moment with Giorgia Meloni. They're trying to get free. Japan as well with their new PM. So, but you have these other ones. But this is them saying, like, we have a choice right here. We can either kind of lose or we can completely lose. And if they lost their energy, they know their people would revolt against them. So what do they have to do? They have to join in. And Trump just forced their hands and humiliated them at the same time. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And people are worried that Trump's not winning. It's unbelievable. Like, his stuff, it just works. It just works.